Hello YouTube, happy Halloween, and today we are doing the scariest thing I could physically think of, which is reading my first ever fanfiction. I wrote this back in like 2018, I think, or whenever I was in 6th grade, and yeah, I think it's really bad, so let's just get right into it. Okay, so it's called Puss in Boots 2 Open Fire. Authors note the events of this story take place after the 2011 DreamWorks movie Puss in Boots, The Adventures of Puss in Boots, and the Shrek movies. I take no credit for the characters copyrighted by DreamWorks and Netflix. I'm already trying not to get sued in 6th grade. Alright, Part 1. Chapter 1. The First Kill. Nobody was expecting the war. It just came, like everything does. I'm going to be narrating like this the whole time. The first murder happened in San Lorenzo, already an Adventures of Puss in Boots reference. The violence spread to the rest of Mexico like a deadly virus. It was during the night, when all the orphans had gone to sleep and Dulcinea was left sitting on the orphanage stairs. It had been hard for her to get any rest since Puss had left. They were desperately in love for a while, and then they had gone their separate ways. Aw, the angst. Already. She was still pondering this when a thief came into town. Now that Puss was gone, San Lorenzo had no protector, but Dulcinea would have to at least try to take him out. This man was different than the thieves before him. He had a gun. Oh no. It was an exceedingly large one. Dulcinea drew her sword, but she wasn't powerful enough. She fell to the ground, the sword still in her lifeless hand. This was the start of the war. The government had soon come to realize... By the way, this is like a war fan fiction, like World War II. Just so y'all know. And yeah, there's politics involved, I guess. I don't know. I was in a history class when I was writing this for most of the time, so it was very war central. The government had soon come to realize that this could be the end of Mexico. They had to do something about it, so they assembled a search team for Puss in Boots. So there's like... I actually read a fan fiction where there's a similar idea to this. There's like a medieval FBI, and I'll probably be reviewing that in the next book club episode when I get around to doing that. But yeah, so I guess there's like a FBI or CIA, like a task force in this interpretation of the universe. Meanwhile, Puss had already received the news. He knew that he couldn't face the war alone, so he sent telegrams to Shrek, his love kitty Softpaws, and the citizens of Duloc. Also, there are a lot of anachronisms in this story, and if you don't know what that means, it means that it's like modern crap in medieval times, so you're just gonna have to ignore that because it's really bad. Frick. My throat's already tired. Most of Duloc had been uninformed about the war in Mexico, and most had not cared. Why would nobody care if there's another war, if there's like World War II coming? I think everybody should be, start getting things together, and like the conspiracy theorists are like building their shelters already. Once Pussy came and told them about the dire state that they were in, they decided to help. Later that day, Puss rode into the town square.
Citizens of Duloc, we need to form an alliance to fight these villains. Mexico is going to be torn into pieces.
Puss said frantically,
"Please help them. Nobody needs this kind of conflict."
They agreed and raised their swords and pitchforks up in the air. Grab your torch and pitchforks. I feel like that was a subtle reference somehow. Then they formed an angry mob and headed to Mexico. The war had begun. That's the second time I've said the war has begun, and I think I say it like 3 more times. Are you out of your friggin' mind? The head of thieves screamed at Dulcinea's killer. His name was X, and he had some real anger management issues. You've brought a war upon Mexico, you idiot! We're doomed! Doomed! Obviously, X didn't say things like friggin' an idiot, but the real words are too profane to print. But you told me to kill her, boss, the thief said, scared of what X might do to him. You told me to go down to San Lorenzo. I didn't say any of that crap. I told you to raid San Lorenzo, not to kill one of the citizens. I just changed X's voice like a posh British warlord. Do you know what's going to happen now? The whole city is going to start fighting against us and we'll be dead. All of us, Raoul. We're screwed. X shouted angrily at the thief. X, I've just been down there before. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a ton of stupid townspeople that pose no threat. I've seen them too, you idiot. X interrupted.
They're stronger than you think. There's a freaking talking boar down there.
If you didn't know that, that's a Adventures of Puss in Boots reference, and a bad one at that.
We need to hide now.
The thieves didn't dare make an objection to X's plan, so they all went underground and waited for something else to happen. Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona met Puss at a bar. This is also basically like the Shrek 5. There's a project related to that I'm working on coming soon. That's all I can say.
Oh yeah!
Donkey exclaimed enthusiastically.
I haven't had whiskey since college.
Puss sighed.
Donkey, we're about to fight in the biggest war since World War II.
World War II wouldn't have happened yet, but okay.
And all you can think about is whiskey?
Puss said.
Well, yeah, what else would I be thinking about?
Donkey replied.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe about the fact that all of us got brutally die in battle.
Puss said angrily.
I'd rather think about whiskey.
Donkey said.
Who's paying here? I ain't got any cash.
Puss looks at him. Tense change. And then slides a couple of coins over to the bartender. I can't drink, guys. You know I have an issue with that, Shrek said, embarrassed.
Yeah,
Donkey said.
the last time you drank too much, you attacked the village screaming like a maniac.
Shrek groaned. Everybody in the bar had heard that.
Donkey, you're just digging your own grave.
Shrek said through gritted teeth, looking as if he was about to give the animal a good punch.
Guys, don't fight,
Fiona pleaded. Puss nodded in agreement. He jumped up on the table.
Fiona's right.
Puss said,
We can't turn against each other before we've even begun fighting.
Shrek and Donkey didn't look at him or at each other. The bartender grunted at Puss as if he was saying, get off the table. Puss blushed and sat back down. Now it was his turn to be embarrassed.
Who's gonna what?
Oh, that's Shrek.
Who's going to watch our kids when we're fighting in the war?
Donkey raised a hoof.
I really don't think I should be fine.
Donkey said.
It's bad for my health. You're coming, you stupid burro.
Puss said, a little ticked off.
Plus, I already left the keys with Pinocchio and Gingy.
They know nothing about taking care of kids, Shrek said objectfully.
Well, they're going to.
Puss responded, ending the conversation. Wow, that was a bad line. That was when a thief came into the bar. He was carrying another gun, this one a bit smaller than the one used to kill Dulcinea.
Everybody put your hands up.
Everyone except Puss obeyed.
On guard!
The ginger cat exclaimed as he drew his sword. The thief shot at him. The bullet reflected off his saber and blew a hole in the wall. Shrek ran at the thief.
I'm going to cream this little
Shrek was cut off as the thief shot him in the arm. He fell to the arm and blood started leaking out of his skin. Fiona ran to his side. Puss suddenly saw a black and white blur across the wall. Then he saw who it was.
Kitty!
It was indeed Kitty Softpaws, his beautiful girlfriend. She leapt out of the thief, taking him out. So, Kitty said, what did I miss? Chapter 2, Coming Eclipse. This is a really long fanfiction. I guess it's not that long. It's like 17 pages. This is going to take a while. Kitty and Puss embraced, happy to see each other again, and then huddled around Shrek with Fiona and Donkey.
We need to get him to a hospital,
Puss said.
Fiona, call 911. Donkey, get something to bandage his arm.
Donkey ran off and came back with a napkin. Sorry if it's not much. This is the best I can find, Donkey said. Fiona wrapped her husband's arm with it. After that, a medic arrived. He needs to be combined... I'm going to try to do the voice from The Last Wish, the doctor.
He needs to be confined to bed for a while.
That was basically just a Puss in Boots voice, never mind. The medic explained, he definitely can't fight. Shrek groaned as all of his friends loaded him onto a stretcher. Soon after, they carried him back to the swamp and gathered around him as he drifted into a deep sleep.
This isn't good,
Puss said, frowning.
Shrek is the biggest guy we have. Now we're short a fighter.
Fiona sighed. Puss, I have to stay back with Shrek. I can't fight either, she said. Puss nodded at the female ogre.
I understand, Fiona. We need to stay close to those we love. Kitty, Donkey, are you with me?
Puss asked. They both nodded. Okay.
We need to gather everyone we can to help.
I have a friend who might be up for the job, Kitty started. I met her a while ago while I was still a thief, and she can definitely use a sword. Puss smiled. I know she's as good as you are. Kitty pulled him closer, and they kissed.
Tell me when it's over.
Donkey said jokingly as he covered his eyes. This made Puss and Kitty laugh.
Everything's in order now, Puss said. We leave in the morning.
X paced back and forth. We need a plan, he said to his fellow thieves. We can't just go around shooting people. He looked accusingly at Raoul and the thief who had just shot Shrek in the arm. He'd regain consciousness eventually. In parentheses. The solar eclipse happens in 3 days, and in those 3 days we will go out into battle. If every warrior on Puss in Boots' side isn't dead in that amount of time, I will kill all of you myself. We can't make any more mistakes here. They're growing stronger, gathering more allies. I won't stand for any more of this crap. That was a very good speech. All of the thieves listened closely as X divulged his scheme. We go into Duloc at midnight, burn down every single house and market, take some hostages for questioning, get rid of the rest. One of the thieves blurted out, "What happens if we get caught?" X scowled at him. You get a frickin' grenade. You get a frickin' grenade, pull that little hook, and it'll blow your brains out before anything else happens. The thief shut himself up and didn't say another word. Does anyone else have any questions? X asked in a malicious tone, looking around. Everyone remained silent. Good. Now go prepare for tonight. Move, move, move. It was 11:59. Why not just midnight? It's very specific, 11:59, when the first thief came into Duloc. He knocked on the door of the king's palace. A guard answered it. The thief started to speak. I have a message for the king. The town will surrender and be destroyed. The guard didn't even flinch. The king is sleeping at the moment. He won't be disturbed. The thief was silent, and then he threw a grenade into the palace before running away. What the? The guard was interrupted as the bomb burst into an explosion and engulfed him as if he were a mouse being eaten by a cat. That was the signal the other thieves needed. They charged into the town, carrying torches and grenades. Guns were strapped to their backs. At the head of them stood X. Burn them all to the ground. I keep switching on the accents. Burn them all to the ground, he shouted as they rushed into Duloc Square, setting fire to all the buildings. If someone had been watching from a distance, all they would have seen was an orange flare. Just like X had planned, they also did a couple hostages for questioning and then killed the rest. Bloody hell. When they were done spreading destruction, they left nothing but dead bodies and the scorched remains of everything they had set ablaze. You crushed it out there, X said, congratulating the thieves. I thought you were going to wimp out or something at the last second, but you proved me wrong. Everything went according to plan. Now we have to take out Puss in Boots and the rest of those idiots who have allied themselves with him. This is a turning point in the war. We have to keep this up. It's funny because the war, just started. They're saying this is I'm sorry, I'm just criticizing my own writing, but the war literally just started, and yeah. It was morning again. Guys, meet Selina, Kitty said. Her friend stood there. She was a red cat with yellow eyes and had a grin across her face. She had 2 swords on her back. Donkey and Puss greeted her. This is probably the first time I actually ever, other than X, this is probably the first time I wrote an actual OC. Yeah. We need to locate the thieves and wipe them out, Puss said. A messenger walked by the swamp. Duloc was attacked by thieves during the night. Over 200 found dead or injured. He could have just said dead. I feel like the or injured took away some of the tension. I don't know why. We don't have much time, Kitty said. They're one step ahead of us. I have an idea, Selina said. What if we gather thieves to fight thieves? That's actually a good idea, Kitty said. Selina, me, and Puss have a ton of connections in that area. We could bring all of them together and have an army. That's so crazy and stupid that it might actually work, Donkey said, laughing. All the cats then begin... Frick. I need to resume my narration voice. All of the cats then started sending out telegrams to different thieves. The real war had begun. Again! That's the third time or fourth time that it said that. Chapter 3. The Second Kill. Puss, Kitty, and Selina rode out at around 11 a.m. Donkey walked there. The thieves had gathered in the remains of Duloc. Fellow thieves, Selina shouted. We've requested your presence here today so we can rebel against X and his gang. War is spreading. We don't have much time before we are wiped out. Join us and save Mexico. The crowd cheered. Donkey clapped his hands together. Best speech! Selina blushed as if to say thank you. Aww. The thieves raised their swords and guns high in the air as they marched off to find X. The eclipse is in 2 more days. Puss in Boots has brought the rest of the thieves in Mexico to be on his side. We need to organize a good game plan. Does anybody have any ideas? X asked. A thief got up to speak. Why don't we just take out Puss? He said. X thought about it for a second, then spoke. That comes later. We have to surround and demolish them. Commit genocide. The writing is so bad. We can't hide in the shadows anymore like friggin' cowards. We're going to eliminate them or die trying. The next day, Puss was able to locate X's base with a stolen tracking device. Again, anachronism. It was an extremely old warehouse in desperate need of a paint job. That was when he saw the security system.
Here, Buddha,
He shouted.
there's no way we're going to get past that.
Selina put her paw up in the air. I can hack it, she said. When I infiltrated bases and crap, I got educated in hacking systems. I just need a wire cutter of some kind. So we don't have one of those, Kitty said. There must be another way. Donkey suddenly had an idea. We could use my teeth, Donkey suggested. Selina agreed, and he bit down the correct wire until it snapped and the system deactivated. Okay, we're good to go, Selina said. They went in through a window, trying not to make a lot of noise. Unfortunately, X heard them.
Everybody shut up,
Said to the thieves.
The security system's down. Someone's in here. Grab your guns. There could be trouble.
One of the thieves walked downstairs to where the intruders had arrived. He saw Puss and his eyes burned with fury.
Well, look what we have here. A horrible leader, his little girlfriend, a traitor, and a donkey. Everyone, we have guests. Make them feel welcome.
Everybody pointed their guns at our four heroes. Puss unsheathed his sword.
X, why are you doing this? There's no need for violence of any kind.
Puss said. X grabbed the ginger cat by the arm and leaned so close that Puss could feel the villain's hot breath on his face.
I will make you wish that you were never born.
X spat.
God seize him.
2 guards lunged at Puss from behind his fat handcuffs on his wrists. One of the guards slapped him across the face. He fell to the ground.
Kitty, help me.
He moaned as the 2 guards dragged him. Kitty jumped out the first guard and stabbed him in the eye with her dagger. He smashed it into the window, and jagged glass flew everywhere, bloody hell. She kicked the second guard in the face, and he slammed down on top of the first. She then cut the lock on the handcuffs, and they fell off. He snatched his sword up and started killing the thieves left and right. Meanwhile, Selina was surrounded. There were just too many for her to handle. One of them, a woman, snuck up behind her. The sword went through the cat's back, and she collapsed, her blood turning into a pool on the floor. No! Kitty screamed. She ran over to Selina and gripped her friend's paw tightly as she uttered one last shallow breath. Puss fought off the thieves surrounding the dead body and kneeled by Kitty's side. She buried her face in his chest, her tears running down her fur. Donkey soon joined them, and they all paused a moment to mourn over the fallen warrior.
Oh, this is just precious.
X said in a mocking tone.
All of the heroes weep over their dead friend. Does that sound familiar?
Puss had had enough. He lashed out and sliced the thief's arm off, making a sicking, crunching sound. X let out a blood-curdling scream. He didn't even bother pulling out a gun and swung a staff at Puss. Then he pulled on both ends and it broke off into twin sticks, pure electricity surging out of them. He aimed for the cat's arm and missed. But the second time it struck Puss and the feeling was excruciatingly painful. He got down on his knees, twitching. Kitty grabbed her knife and prepared to strike, but X delivered a blow that blew her across the room. One of the guards came to X's side.
Finish him, boss!
X looked down at the cat before him, and he felt remorse. Why was he doing this? But that sympathy only lasted a couple seconds. He brought the stake down, about to make the kill when he was stopped. The thief looked around and saw Donkey, who had grabbed his arm. Nobody does that to my friend! Donkey said in a furious tone. He butted X in the head and came crashing down. The mule knew that X wasn't dead yet, just unconscious, and that they had to leave. He loaded the 2 comatose felines on his back, and exited through the window from whence they came. Chapter 4. Fresh Blood. Donkey came to stop in a field. He lay Puss and Kitty on the ground and then spoke, even though they couldn't hear him. Guys, I gotta go. I have my wife and kids to go back to, and I'm sorry I couldn't find to the end. You're gonna survive. I just know it. Thereupon, he ran off. A while later, Puss woke up. He put a hand to his head.
Konya,
He swore.
what happened?
He looked to his right and he found Kitty fast asleep behind him. Donkey? The burrow was nowhere to be found.
Kitty, wake up!
He said frantically. She groaned.
What?
She said irritably, still half asleep.
Donkey's gone. Where can you feel it? Your ear.
He had just noticed that blood was running down Kitty's head.
It's bleeding.
She touched the injury and her forepaw came away a crimson color. Oh Lord, she whimpered. Puss hugged her and shushed her softly.
Hey, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay.
Puss said. He lightly kissed her and gazed into her cyan-colored eyes until she calmed down. Cue the sad indie rock here.
Let's go. We can try to find some water to soak it in.
He said. They both got up and walked for a while. They eventually found a stream and Kitty splashed water on her ear until the soreness ceased. When she was done, they walked some more and conversed while they did so.
Where do you think Donkey went?
Puss asked. Kitty shrugged.
Maybe he went back to Shrek and Fiona or to his family, she suggested. What even happened at X's base? I don't know.
Puss. Freck, I was still in Kitty's voice.
I don't know, Puss said. I just remember being zapped and then everything went dark. So how are we here? Kitty said.
Puss snapped his fingers. Donkey must...
Freck, I'm losing track of the places now. Donkey must have brought us here and then left. He probably knocked out X or something or he wouldn't have been able to escape.
That was when the two cats came across came across a moss-covered shelter. It had 2 stories and was made of rock.
We'll rest here for the night,
Puss said. Soon it was dark.
Good night, Puss, Kitty said quietly. I love you.
Puss smiled.
I love you too,
he said back, and they kissed in the moonlight. Then they both fell asleep. Dreaming about the day to come.
I feel like this actually has some pretty good fluff for like my first fanfiction. Like,
I feel like that's like the one aspect of this story that was done decently.
You've got the dots to signify a continuation here.
At last, X had come to his senses.
What the?
He glanced around. None of his men were in sight. Suddenly, it all came back to him. Puss in Boots, the female cat, the donkey. The thief sighed deeply. Almost 75% of his men had been slaughtered. The thought of this, he growled. He thought of how he almost felt an urge to spare his enemy. And this made X even more wrathful. That cat has got to go, he said to himself. He got to his feet, clenching his teeth, and picked up the 2 pieces of his electric staff. The thief came out from behind a cabinet, making X jump. Herman, you scared the crap out of me, he said. The thief stepped back a bit.
Sorry, boss. Where did the cats go?
Pure fury cascaded through X's brain. A strange feeling came over him, and he pulled a handgun from his belt. In a matter of seconds, Hernan was motionless at X's feet.
What the heck was that? X, you've got a serious problem. You shot one of your own men, for heaven's sake.
These were the thoughts that went through the thief's mind as he questioned his actions. This wasn't good. X shut his eyes, hoping that his problems would go away. I must be losing my friggin' mind. Puss couldn't sleep. The wind howled like a dying wolf. He looked out one of the windows as his fur blew in the breeze. Leaves fell everywhere. At that moment, there was a strike of lightning and a dead tree caught fire. Sparks flew, igniting the grass which spread toward their shelter. He ran over to Kitty and shook her gently until she woke up.
Kitty, we have to go now, he said. We don't have any time to waste.
Kitty grasped her boyfriend's hand and they made a rapid escape as the shelter burned to the ground. They soon came across a metal shell of a bomber jet. We can hide in there until the fire stops, Kitty said. They dove inside just as the flames attacked. The shell was ablaze, but it would surely keep them safe. There they waited, not sleeping awake until the origin yellow glow subsided. Chapter 5, Not According to Plan.
This is really good coffee.
X was in a state of panic. He almost had no fighters left and he was slowly going insane. At one point he slumped to the floor with his head in his hands. I have to kill him. I have to kill him. I have to kill him, he repeated. The only thing that mattered to the thief now was that Puss in Boots died. He tore strands of his hair and shivered uncontrollably. Tomorrow, he said, the cat dies. Kitty got out of the shell and looked outside. Everything that had been there was gone. The field had been completely destroyed. Puss followed her. Konya, he said. There's nothing left. They went a little farther and it was true. The grass, the trees, everything was obliterated. We have to go, Puss said. X is probably looking for us as we speak. Kitty saw something in the distance and gasped. What does he mean more? Puss asked. X isn't looking for us. He found us, Kitty said with fear. How did he find them? I just want to know that, how he randomly found them in this field. Puss turned around and he saw the thief. X had a machine gun strapped to his back and his eyes were bloodshot beyond recognition. Puss in Boots, we meet again! X shouted. He started coming toward the 2 cats and then froze. He unlatched the machine gun from his back and aimed it. Run! Puss screamed. They took off. X shot them recklessly and the ammunition ripped through what was left of the field. All of a sudden, Puss jumped out of the way and slammed into the ground. His eyes slowly closed and he descended into a world of darkness. X ran over to Puss and shoved the machine gun into his chest, once again ready to destroy him, but he just couldn't do it. Even through his insanity, it was beyond his power to end the cat's life. He dropped his weapon and sprinted away. Puss awoke and didn't see X or Kitty. "Kitty!" he called. "Kitty!" He turned around and there she was. "Puss!" They raced toward each other and kissed passionately. "Kitty, I'm so glad to see you. Thank God you're safe," Puss said. Kitty stared into his eyes.
X took off. He was about to kill you, but then he just stopped. I don't know why, but I'm telling the truth,
Kitty said.
Puss held her paws. All that matters to me is that you're safe."
Puss says he pulled her into a hug.
"That is weird, though. I think X is probably gone completely loco."
"Yeah," she said back, "probably."
"What am I doing? I had another chance to kill the cat and I blew it again. What am I doing?"
X was enraged at his own madness and stupidity.
"I just can't do it," he thought. "I feel like a total focus, X. Kill Puss in Boots, that's all you need to worry about. Soon he'll be dead and you can finally be calm."
The villain went upstairs and got into bed. He was slowly dying and he could feel it. Also, this is like my earliest attempt probably at an internal conflict and it didn't go well. Oh, here, we're with Donkey again. Donkey felt bad about leaving Puss and Kitty alone, but they could handle themselves. At least that's what the animal hoped. He continued on his journey, but then a thief came out of nowhere holding a sniper rifle. The thief shot at Donkey, the sniper rifle making a noise. But what the thief didn't know is that donkeys can be dangerous. Donkey zoomed toward him and knocked the thief out of his hand. Then he headbutted the thief. "Woo!" Donkey said. "That was freaking close!" Kitty and Puss went down to rest for a minute.
"Hey, Puss, I have to go do something really quick,"
Kitty said. Okay, Puss said. Kitty went behind two bushes and pulled out a communication device. First there was static and then the voice of an old man emerged. "What is happening here?" "Hello, darling." "Hello, darling," the voice said. "What do you need?" Kitty sighed and put her mouth close to the device.
"Dad, I just can't keep my secret from Puss any longer. He needs to know."
Kitty's father sucked on his teeth.
"It's too dangerous. If he knew it would scar him forever. We have to keep it under wraps,"
he said. Kitty nodded and said goodbye before turning it off. She looked at Puss and how he looked so happy she would just have to hold it back, at least for now. I wonder what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. Chapter 6, the end is only the beginning. The eclipse had almost begun. X got out of bed and grabbed every weapon he could and put all of them in a backpack. He found automatic rifles, snipers, handguns, knives, and grenades. Then he set out. Puss in Boots would die and he would die tonight, X told himself. He had prepared for this moment since the war started and now he's going to finish it. Kitty still felt guilty about keeping her secret from Puss, but she knew her father was right. He couldn't deal with it. But then again, Puss could probably handle anything. She had a decision to make. Either keep the secret from her true love and compromise her identity, or keep it to herself and sound suspicious. Plus, Puss would find out eventually. She decided to go with her gut and tell him. She went over to him. Puss, I have something to tell you. Something I should have told you long ago. If you never love me again, it's okay. I'm an alien. This twist makes no sense. It's so bad. Puss looked at her and realized she was serious. Why she looked so perfect. Why she talked so oh my gosh. This is really, really bad. It all made sense now. But surprisingly, this didn't bother him.
Kitty, I will love you as long as I live. And I don't care who you are. You will always be my flower.
Cue British indie rock again. Cue Lovejoy. Puss said. He kissed her and she wrapped her arms around him. The eclipse started, and the sun slowly went into darkness. X came out of nowhere and made a beeline for Puss and Kitty. I finally have you right where I want you, X shouted. He pulled out an AK-47. Oh no.
Puss in Boots, sacrifice yourself and the girl dies.
Puss glanced at Kitty and then walked toward X.
Puss, don't do it, Kitty screamed.
Puss let out a deep sigh and halted when he came to the thief. X moved back and aimed the trigger at the ginger cat. Oh wait, aimed the gun at the ginger cat's chest. The villain cocked the weapon. Goodbye, X hissed and he pulled the trigger. The bullet ripped through Puss's chest. He flopped to the ground, not moving a muscle. "No!" Kitty sobbed, not able to bear it. X threw his arms up in the air in triumph. "Let it be known on this day that I am the new ruler of Mexico," he shouted. But he coughed and his eyes went blank. He fell, lifeless. Kitty ran over and put her paw on Puss's head. "Oh, Puss, I'm so sorry," she said, her face stained with tears. Then, quick as a flash, the bullet hole faded and disappeared. Puss opened his eyes. He looked around. "What the?" he said, confused. Kitty hugged him. "Puss, you're alive," she said happily. He laughed and hugged her back. "I guess Oh my gosh, this is so cringe. "I guess miracles really do happen," Puss said, joyous. "Actually, now that all this crap is over, I have to ask you something." He got down on his one knee and pulled out the little box. He opened it, and inside was the most beautiful ring Kitty had ever seen. "Kitty Softpaws, will you marry me?" It didn't even take her 1 second to answer. "Yes!" Puss slipped the ring on her finger and smiled. Then they looked into the horizon and saw their future right before their eyes. And then I never wrote part 2, and obviously the engagement ends with Santa Coloma acknowledgements. I think God and Jesus, that's nice. And my mom and my dad and brother and grandma, cool. And then I put this random Walt Disney quote for no reason. But yeah, that was my first ever fan fiction. It was even more terrifying than I remember, but I hope you guys enjoyed hearing it. And Book Club episode 2 is coming soon. I need to freaking get to it, and more DJ sets are probably coming soon too. And exciting news on that secret project I was mentioning earlier. So yeah, that's all for today. I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.